Welcome back to another episode of Carson's Aquatics. Today, we are finally setting up my 75-gallon aquarium. Now, a little over a month ago, I got this tank from my friend's dad's friend for 150 bucks. I got the tank, the stand, and then a bunch of supplies like 2 different filters, the light, like 4 heaters. I'm gonna get rid of all that because I bought a new light and a new filter, but I am using one of the heaters it came with because it's literally brand new. And I've been so excited to set up this tank literally ever since I got it. But we've had other things to do, like the 40-gallon, rescuing this blood parrot, the tadpoles, which are actually getting pretty big. We've got a lot going on in the fish room, and we just got to take it one step at a time. And the step we're taking today is setting up this 75-gallon aquarium. And the first thing I need to do is figure out how this filter is going to work and what position it's going to be in, because I need to know how much space I need between the back of the tank and the wall so that like the intake and output can go there. You'll see what I mean in a sec. Yeah, I'm going to figure out how this goes on, and I'll let you know when I'm done.
A few moments later.
Alrighty guys, well, I've figured out how the filter works. Just a real quick overview. There's 4 of these little shelves, which I'll eventually pack with biomedia. I'll do that later. So those all go stacked on top of each other. And then this goes over all that. This is a UV bulb. I believe that sterilizes the water. It goes down in there. And then this is the output hose. This is the intake hose. And yeah, there it is. This filter was like 70 or 80 bucks on Amazon, I think. I'll have the exact price on the screen. Now we have our first problem of the day. This will not fit through the door, so we're gonna have to put this thing in through the back. And there is our canister filter. It's an absolute beast, as you can see. And I guess whenever I have to do maintenance on it, I can just take the lid off while it's in there, because when this thing is full of water, I won't be able to scoot it out like I just did. So that's not going to be fun. But anyway, let's move on. The next thing to do is to rinse out the inside of this tank. Like I said, I've had this tank for like over a month, so it's definitely built up some dust. So we're just going to wipe all that off. So our tank is all wiped down, nice and clean. And the next thing we're gonna do is start putting the sand in the tank. Right here I have 3 bags of Supernatural's aquarium sand. That is the same stuff I used in my frog tank. So that's what it's gonna look like. So I'm gonna take this sand outside and rinse it down. So the way we're gonna rinse this sand, and I went over this in my frog tank setup video, but in case you missed that, I'll just do it again. We're gonna cut off this corner of the bag and this corner of the bag, and we're gonna run the hose in through one hole, and the dirty water is gonna come out the other. And you wanna like poke the hose around in the sand, stir it up, get all that dust out of the sand. And that dirty water, as you can see, is seeping out of the bag. That's what we want. Look at that. If we didn't do this, that's what the tank water would look like. Get all this out. And when I set up the frog tank, it was a bit cloudy, so I am going to rinse this again, just like that. And there we go. Now we're just gonna go dump this in the tank. Oh my, the camera is so foggy. That's how humid it is in Missouri. So the first bag of sand is in, and I'm gonna go rinse the other 2 bags down. You guys already saw how I did that. And we're gonna add them to the tank, and then I'll kind of spread it out and shape it however I want it to be. So now that the sand is in our tank, I'm just gonna start filling it up with water. Alrighty guys, the tank is full, and I decided to put the light on just to see how bad it looks. And it looks horrible, but that's what I was expecting. The same thing happened to this one, but just look at how beautiful that one looks now. So we're gonna get the filter up and running so this thing can start clearing up. Alright, well, I've got the filter all hooked up, the intake, the output, they're all hosed together. I'm gonna put the light back on, and we're just gonna see if this thing works. Alright, I'm plugging it in 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's working. That's so cool. And the camera's been out of focus this entire time. Wow, I'm sorry about that. So yeah, there it is. That is a lot of flow. So it's getting sucked in through this. There's like a little thing at the bottom. It's going down through the pipes into the filter, gets filtered, and then out this pipe, out back into the tank. So that is super cool. We're gonna give this tank some time to kind of circulate. Obviously, it has a lot of clearing up to do. But yeah, it's looking good. Alrighty guys, it's now been a couple hours, and as you can see behind me, the tank looks a million times better. Before, you literally couldn't even see 2 inches into the tank. And now you can see the back wall. Not quite crystal clear like that one, but it will be soon. Off camera, I went ahead and added in water conditioner to remove the chlorine from the water. And that is all we're gonna do tonight. My goal for today was to get the water and sand in and the filter running. Mission accomplished. So tomorrow we're gonna finish scaping this tank. We're gonna add wood, rocks, gravel, stuff like that. And we're also gonna add our biomedia to the filter, and we might even add in some fish. With that being said, I'll see you tomorrow. Alright guys, it's now a few days later, and here's a look at the tank. It is absolutely crystal clear, and it has been since the morning after we put the sand in. And you may actually notice there is more sand in there than there was before. I did go get 2 more bags and put them in there, and it got a little cloudy after that, but then cleared right up that same night. So this tank is looking beautiful. I figured it needed more sand because these American cichlids love to dig, so I just wanted to give them more to work with. Oh yeah, also I got a heater for it. I was going to use this heater that the tank actually came with, but now I see why the guy didn't use it, because it's actually too long for this tank. So I bought the same exact kind, but I think that's a 200 watt, and it fits in the tank. And our goal for today is to just finish this tank. I want this tank to be done, ready for fish, and we've got a lot to do. But the first thing we're gonna do is go outside and rinse this real nice piece of driftwood that I actually found down by the river. You'll get a closer look at that here in a second, but let's go clean it off. Alrighty guys, I just cleaned off the wood as good as I could. Spitting bars. And I just trimmed off a couple pieces of this to hopefully make it fit. And there it is. That's gonna be cool. And eventually the whole piece of wood is gonna be a bit lower. It does want to float right now, but over time it will fill up with water and sink, so it'll actually end up looking something like that, and I'll probably bury it a bit more in the sand, but that's how it's going to be for at least like a week. And now before I do too much more, I do want to get our filter completely ready to go. And like I mentioned earlier, this filter does not fit out of this door, so I'm unfortunately going to have to do all the maintenance from inside the stand. So I'm going to pop this lid off of there. Now I'm going to take out all the biomedia trays, and wow, these things are already dirty. That's just from all the sand. So now I'm going to siphon out the rest of the water that's left in the filter because it's all nasty and sandy. So we don't want that in there. And to give the filter some extra elevation, I used my disc golf discs. Got to use what you got. And while that's draining, I'm going to go clean out all these filter pads. They're just full of sand from when we put the sand in the tank. And there we go. Our filter is drained and our filter pads are rinsed. Literally, these things are brand new. They just had a lot of sand in them. I'm gonna get this last little bit of dirty water out of here. There we go. And as you can see, we would not have wanted that in our filter. So now we're gonna set up the filter media. So this is the bottom layer. We're gonna have just an extra layer of filter padding. This next layer is gonna be lava rock. This is lava rock straight out of my pond filter. So this is already loaded with beneficial bacteria, which will help this tank gets cycled. Right here we're going to have bio balls, which serves the same purpose as the lava rock, just for beneficial bacteria to colonize. And then this last layer, we're going to add activated carbon. This just helps with water quality. It helps remove waste from the water and helps the water stay clear overall. So we got mechanical filtration, biological, and chemical filtration. We got a little bit of everything, and that's what you want. And that's that. So now I'm going to start loading all these trays back into the filter, and we're going to turn it back on. Alrighty guys, so the filter is running, and we actually have a bit of a problem. It's not like a huge deal. Basically, there was like a little branch of wood that I cut off so that the whole thing would be further back that way. And after I cut that piece, the whole thing floated and it won't stay back down like it was before. So I guess the piece that I cut was kind of like wedging it down. So this wood is completely floating. It's literally not touching the ground anywhere, which is fine. Like, I know it's going to want to float for a while until it fills up with water and sinks, but it's probably going to take like at least a week for that to happen, for this whole thing to get waterlogged and sink. And I don't really want to scape the rest of this tank until I know where the wood is going to stay. So until this piece of wood sinks, I'm not going to scape any more of this tank. I'm just going to wait for that to happen. But a couple more things we can do to this tank right now is, first of all, add some bacteria starter. I did add that lava rock from my pond, which has a lot of beneficial bacteria, but we still just want to make sure that beneficial bacteria is well established in this tank. So we're going to add a bunch more of this stuff. We're gonna try and get a lot to go into the intake right down there, so it can start building up in the filter. And you can never really have too much of this stuff. I'll probably add some more after like my first couple water changes. And then I'm also gonna run out to my pond and scoop up a little school of common guppies and put them in this tank, which will also help speed up the cycle. And then when I put the cichlids in there, they'll take care of the guppies. But yeah, let's run out to the pond and grab some guppies. And right there, we got a nice amount of guppies. So we're gonna take these guys in and put them in the tank. There they all go. So now the filtration's completely set up. The guppies are in the tank. And now we just gotta wait for the driftwood to sink, which like I said, will probably take at least a week. But whenever it is, I'll see you then. Alrighty guys, well it's now been over 2 weeks, and as you can see, this driftwood is still not sinking. I go in there and push it down a little bit every day, and it does not seem to be getting any heavier. And honestly, I'm just sick of waiting. I want to finish scaping this tank. I want to put the fish in here. So today, we're finishing this tank. And I figure I'll just use like some big rocks to hold down each side of the driftwood. And I wish I would have just done this 2 weeks ago, because then by now we could have already had the fish in there and been moving on to other things. But I really thought this driftwood would sink, and I was wrong. So the first thing we're gonna do is scrub down all of our large rocks. I have them soaking in a bucket of really, really hot water just to kill anything that might be on it, and I'm also gonna scrub them down to get any dirt off of them. Alrighty guys, so all of our large rocks have been scrubbed and rinsed. And also right there we have some flat river stones. I'm gonna use those to kind of blend the big rocks with the sand. So now pretty much the last thing to do is just put these rocks into the tank. And whew, there it is. That's got to be my best scape ever. And obviously it's a little bit murky because I just stirred everything up, but man, got that beautiful piece of spiderwood, which I found. It was free. And got some rocks, as you can see. I have that and that holding it down on this side, and then this one holding it down on this side. I sprinkled in those river stones, and as you may have already noticed, there's actually a light layer of like this white fuzz, if you will. That's apparently some kind of fungus or mold that's just coming out of the wood. It is not harmful to the fish whatsoever. It's just not very pleasant on the eyes. But I looked it up and it said that plecos and snails will actually eat that fungus. So tomorrow, I'm actually going to get some fish for this tank. That'll be in my next video. But while I'm out, I'm gonna pick up some snails for this tank. Also, you may notice on the ground, there's kind of these buildups of like wood dust. It's just all the loose stuff falling off the driftwood, piling up on the ground. So I'm gonna go in and siphon all that stuff out. And I think I'm also gonna clean out the filter just like I did that first time, because there's also probably a lot of that wood dust in there as well. So I'm gonna do all that real quick and I'll get back to you in just a sec. And just like that, the sand is cleaned, the filter is completely cleaned as well. And this tank is just about done. There's one more thing I want to add, and that is this background right here. I figure this one will be perfect. It's got the spiderwood, it's got the rocks, so it should match pretty well, and I can't wait to see it on there. Let's do it. And there it is, the background is on. I'm kidding, I was using the front of the tank to cut the background to the right size. And now that it's the proper size, we can put it on the back of the tank where it's supposed to be. And 3, 2, 1. And boom, there it is. Look at that background. That is the perfect background for this tank. And with that, this tank is done. It's completely done. The filter's good. The decorations are all in. Everything is ready to go. And I just cannot wait to see my cichlids in this tank. I know they're gonna love it. And I'm gonna wait just a few more days before I put the cichlids in here, just to make sure everything's good. That is part of the reason why I put the guppies in here, because if they're fine, the cichlids should be fine as well. And the guppies are doing great. In fact, they actually had more babies. So this tank is good to go. So now next up in the fish room, like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna be getting some fish for my 40-gallon. That'll be my next video, and then the video after that, we're moving all my cichlids into this tank. Also, earlier today I went out and got the giveaway tank. This is a 10-gallon aquarium starter kit, along with the chemicals you'll need to start the aquarium, as well as a $30 gift card to a pet store of your choice. If you missed my last video, be sure to go check that out to learn how to enter this giveaway. The giveaway is ending this Monday, so be sure to enter if you haven't. Today's comment of the day goes out to Aquarium Life. Hi Carson, I'm a longtime fan since 500. I've done everything and really hope I win. Well, thank you for sticking with me this long, and best of luck to you in the giveaway. Again, be sure to enter the giveaway if you haven't already. It's in my last video. And if you want your comment to be the comment of the day in the next video, all you gotta do is drop a comment down below and that could happen. And if you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and I am gonna see you in the next video. I just stubbed the absolute frick out of my toe. Oh my goodness. That is brutal.